Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the second session of the Professional Forester's Licensure Exam Free Review under the Upstep Review Caravan 2026. So we are very excited to have you all here tonight, whether you are joining us here in our Google Meet or tuning in through our Facebook live stream. So before we begin, we would also like to check in with everyone. Kindly type in the chat PFLE 2026 if you are taking the exam this year, or future RPF if you are preparing ahead. Ayan, so regardless of whether you are taking the exam this year or in the following years, good luck po sa inyong preparations and hopefully ay may matutunan kayo sa ating lecture this evening. And before we proceed, don't forget to register to our free review sessions to stay updated on upcoming topics. You may also enroll in our review programs for a more comprehensive preparation, including coaching, materials, and guided review. So we offer the programs in different learning modes. We have face-to-face, online, and self-paced review programs, as you can see flashed on your screens. So for today's session, we will be learning about forest products utilization. And this will help strengthen your foundation and move one step closer to becoming a registered professional forester. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce our lecturer for tonight. She graduated Bachelor of Science in Forestry from UPLB, Master of Environment and Natural Resources Management also from UPLB, and a graduate with a Diploma in Environmental Planning from UPLB this 2026. She was named the Most Outstanding Youth of the Municipality of Santa Cruz in 2017 and is the Young Forester International Awardee of the Gregory Award by the Society of American Foresters in 2018. So without further ado, let's all welcome and give a virtual round of applause to Ms. Dara Marie Joseph. Hello po, good evening.
Yan, so magandang hapon sa ating lahat. Thank you very much for that introduction. So again, isang makakalikasang hapon sa ating lahat, and I'm very excited to present my topic this afternoon. So I am Forester Dana Joseph. As mentioned earlier, I am a graduate of BS Forestry in UPLB, and I took my master's in the University of the Philippines, Open University, and at the same time, this July, I will be graduating naman for the Diploma in Environmental Planning. I am also the owner of the D. Joseph Environmental Management Consultancy Services. So we have projects all over the Philippines. So kapag po pumasa kayo and we are hiring, very much welcome to apply in our consultancy firm. So we are actually based in Laguna, but our projects po from Luzon to Mindanao, meron kaming mga projects. Ayan. So, I will now proceed sa ating outline for this afternoon. Medyo mahaba-haba po ito at I hope makakatch up po tayo, and may in-insert akong short quizzes para po ma-refresh tayo per topic. So we have 5 topics. So we have the manufacture of lumber, veneer and plywood, pulp and paper, particle board, and fiberboard, or tinatawag natin na hardboard. So we will proceed now with lumber. For lumber, I know marami sa atin very much familiar now with lumber. So lumber, it is one of the most widely used forms of manufactured wood product. And usually kapag po forestry or pag sinasabi wood product, lumber talaga kasi pag saan ka lumingon may makikita ka niyan. So it is the product of the saw and planing mill, not further manufactured than by sawing, resawing, and passing lengthwise through a standard planing machine or crosscut to lead. So it is usually, pag tingnan nyo yung simple definition niya, it is the wood that has been processed from harvested trees into standardized planks, boards, or structural beams. So, not just in forestry natin ito naririnig, even in construction industry. So So, what are the lumber manufacture process? So actually, we have 4 basic operations po na ginagamit or standard na basic operations in the lumber manufacturing process. So una po, andito yung tinatawag natin head sawing, and then second is resawing, and then next is edging or ripping, and then lastly is the trimming or cross-cutting. So isa-isahin po natin ito for this afternoon. So una is head sewing. So basically, ang head sewing po is from this to this. Ayan. So it's actually log breakdown. So conversion siya from log, mga logs natin na hinarvest from the tree into planks, boards, or other dimensions po. So yun yung head sewing. And there are 3 actually equipment na ginagamit for head sewing. Una po is the circular head saw. So as the name implies, it's usually circular yung saw and used to make the first major cuts sa mga logs natin. So it is primarily large in diameter circular blade used in mills. So sa atin kasi sa Pilipinas, hindi ito masyadong, yung mga manufacturing industry ng timber, hindi natin masyado itong na-encounter. But in other countries, especially in the US, meron silang mga malalaking mills na makikita talaga yung mga equipment na ito. So kina-transform basically ng mga circular yung logs into thick slabs. Ayan. So as you can see in the picture sa left side. And then second equipment na ginagamit naman is yung tinatawag na bandsaw. So bandsaw is usually a versatile power tool featuring a continuous loop up to metal stretch across 2 or more rotating wheels. So it is used for cutting thick pieces of lumber with high precision. So as compared to circular head, so ito ay medyo mas precise yung way niya ng pag-cut ng ating mga logs. And then the last equipment, ito yung pinaka malalaki talaga. So ginagamit siya usually sa mga pag heavy duty na yung mga sawmill natin. Nakakita ko once dito sa US na malalaking troso talaga or logs yung ginagamit, naga-undergo dito. So it's a heavy-duty sawmill used to simultaneously rip large logs into multiple boards of uniform thickness in a single pass. So kapag malaki yung production, usually ang ginagamit ay sash gang saw. So these are the 3 equipment na ginagamit in head sawing. So again, we have the circular head saw, the bandsaw, and the sash gang head saw. And then, next naman po is meron naman tayong 3 classifications of sawmills according to the head rig used. So, parang kapareho lang siya nung nauna. Ano po? So, these 3, yung bandsaw mill, circular sawmill, and then the gang sawmill, sila po, sila po usually yung mga types of machinery used to convert logs into lumber. So, different blades sila, and then different production speed as well, and yung waste output nila. So, they range from highly precise to low waste band mills to ultra fast. And then, yung iba naman, like yung gang sawmill, ginagamit siya for mass production. So, for band sawmill, so it's usually used as a continuous band of metal with teeth on one or both edges stretched between 2 large rotating wheels. And circular sawmill, it is usually used as a large rotating metal disc with cutting teeth along its outer degree. So for band sawmill, usually ginagamit ito kapag yung heavy-duty stationary machine or portable unit. So this is best for fine woodworking, high-value timber, and yung portable on-site operations natin. So circular sawmill naman po ay ginagamit siya kapag aggressive or it can handle large or rough logs. So kapag yung on the spot na paggagamit natin. So, however, ito po ay medyo marami siyang waste. Ayan. So next naman is the gang sawmill. So gang sawmill is highly specialized secondary processing machine that uses parallel circular saw blades. So this is used best for industrial lumber production. Yan. Kasi nga po, high volume na yung products na kaya niyang i-produce. Ayan. And then, wait lang po Yan. Next, so there are two methods of head sawing na tinatawag. So una is yung swing with respect on the angle of the grain. So ito yung tinatawag na plain or flat sawing or your quarter sawing. When you say plain or flat sawing, ito yung kunyari ito yung log. Later I will show an illustration. Ito yung log natin. So flat lang siya. Yung angle niya is less than 45 degrees within the surface of the piece. However, yung quarter sawing naman is usually the grain of the lumber sawed forms at an angle of 45 degrees siya with the surface of the piece. And then with respect naman, sawing with respect to the direction of the saw cut. So taper sawing and non-taper sawing. So we all know naman ang puro taper siya, no? Nagte-taper siya. So as we go along sa taas niya, luminipis siya or lumiliit siya, nagte-taper siya. So ito yung example ng para mas maging familiar sa atin yung illustration. Ayan. So ito yung example ng plain or flat sawing. So the grain angle is less than 45 degrees with the surface of the piece. So kung makikita natin dito sa illustration, ano lang siya, straight lang siya, dire-diretso lang siya, flat siya. As compared to quarter sawing. So ano siya, inuuna muna yung 45 degrees angle and then dun siya kinakat. So yan siya. So yung plain sawing is usually the most economical na ginagawa in the field. So it's usually parallel cuts lang kasi dire-diretso lang. Unlike sa quarter sawing na you divide it into into quadrants and then you cut yung una and then yung pangalawa and so on. And then, next naman is yung sawing with respect to the direction of the saw cut. So, una dito, yung na-mention ko kanina is taper sawing or yung usually yung sawing parallel to the sides of the log. So, we consider this the small end of the log na ina-adjust so that the outer bark face is completely parallel to the saw blade. So, next naman is yung non-taper sawing. So this one, it does not consider the taping or taper angle of the tree. So the log is placed flat on the carriage and the saw cuts straight through the log, ignoring the natural taper of the tree. So yan yung difference ng taper sawing and non-taper sawing. And then there are types of modern circular head saws. So, meron tayong tinatawag na circular saw, or this one is designed to saw mill to medium-sized logs. And then the two circular saw. So, usually ito ay ginagamit po to cut relatively small logs, and the advantage of variable spacing between saws adapt such equipment to production. And then last is the single circular with the top saw. So this one is usually designed to saw large diameter logs. So depende rin po pala yung paggamit ng circular head. So no, depending on the type of log. So kapag medium size logs, you usually use single circular saw. And then when you cut relatively small logs, two circular saw. And then kapag yung mga large diameter logs na natin na nagagamit, so yung ginagamit natin is two circular saw. So these are the types of modern circular head saws. And then lastly is the gang circular saw. So this one naman is designed to cut small knotty logs. So we know naman kung ano yung mga knots sa logs, no? So yung ginagamit dyan naman po is the gang circular saw. So, how about the types of band head saws? So, we mentioned kanina yung mga types of circular head saws. So, now naman po, we will move to the types of band head saws. So, first one is the vertical band saw. So, this one is usually consists of band of steel with teeth on one or more or both edges mounted on two wheels, one of which is above and the other below the cutting field. So, itong type ng vertical bandsaw is usually may variation to. Pwedeng single and double vertical bands. So, yung ito po ay usually na ginagamit kapag mas ginagamit siya kapag nipis yung kahoy natin. And then horizontal bands. So the two wheels are mounted side by side and the bands run parallel to the mill floor. So ito naman yung second one. So we have the vertical band saws and then the horizontal bands. And then last one is the double cutting pony bands. So the double cutting pony bands is composed of both edges that have teeth and a board is removed with either direction of the carriage movement. So ito naman yung another type of band head. So is when the double cutting pony bands meron siyang dalawang edges of band that have teeth on both sides. Ayan. Another one, so we have the type of circular head saw, and then we mentioned a while ago the type of band head saw. And then now we will move to the type of sash gang head. So as mentioned earlier, yung sash gang head saw, sila po yung ginagamit sa mga malalaking production na. So we have the American sash gang saw and the Scandinavian sash gang saw. So hindi ako nakapag-attach ng photo kasi I'm not quite sure kung tama yung maia-attach ko, ano. Kasi we have different modifications na makikita, pero ito yung definition niya. So the American sash gang saw is designed to saw cans end of the oscillating type. So this one is when the sash with its battery of saws moves forward on the downward cutting stroke. So oscillating type is yung tinatawag na movement. So downward cutting stroke and then backward to clear the saw on the upward stroke. So yun siya. So Scandinavian sash gang saw, this one is designed to saw round lugs. So the top of the saw is tilted forward, so relative to the bottom, so the saw hangs at an angle. So yun yung dalawang two different sash gang heads. So first one is the American sash gang saw, and then the other one is the Scandinavian sash gang saw. So yung American sash gang saw is usually for heavy-duty industrial sawmill siya ginagamit. So however, yung Scandinavian sash gang saw, minsan baka makita nyo lumabas siya as Swedish gang saw. So pwede siyang Scandinavian sash gang saw or Swedish gang saw. So this one is highly efficient, heavy-duty sawmill machine designed to break down round logs into multiple boards into a single pass. So usually siya, it rapidly reciprocate vertical frame holding multiple tin saws to achieve high precision and remarkably, syempre, konti yung waste. So yun yung dalawang type of sash gang head saw. And then next naman, is the second basic operation in the lumber manufacturing process. So again, we mentioned kanina head sawing. So head sawing is basically conversion from log to into planks or boards. So next naman is resawing. So what is resawing? Actually, this is somewhat similar naman sa ginagawa talaga ng head sawing. But resawing it's one operation in the lumber manufacture designed to reduce the large size dimension timber of cans into lumber or to recover usable lumber from heavy slabs. So usually this process involves slicing a thicker board along its length so that makakreate ng 2 or more thinner boards. Ayan. So this technique usually is used to maximize material yield, reduce waste, and allow to create custom lumber. So, yan yung usually ginagamit yung resawing. And then there are types of resaws. Ayan. So, halos kapareho lang nung sa head sewing. So, we have the sash gang resaw, circular gang resaw, vertical band resaw, and the vertical band resaw. So, resaws may also be of similar type to main head saws, but somehow relatively ang difference lang is smaller dimension yung meron siya. And it may also cut odd-sized lumber that is not economically feasible to cut on the edger. So, ang difference ng resaw niya, ang difference ng resaw into head saw is that we cut lumber into smaller pieces. Ayan. So, since, however, kapag po yung mill natin is small, this operation may not be necessary. So, kapag lang mga malalaking large pieces of lumber from the head saws lang, usually ang ginagawang or nag-undergo ng resaw process. So next naman, na basic operations in the lumber manufacturing process is the edging or ripping. So what do we mean by edging or ripping? So edging or ripping po is usually yung ginagamitan ng edgers. So edgers are used to straighten and smooth rough lumber by making a cut along the side of the board. So as you can see in the illustration, ganyan siya. And the result of this process is straight edge along the stack. So in very small sawmills, yung edging operation usually ginagawa na siya during the head sawing. But in larger sawmills, ripping is done with an edger. So edger ay may following type din siya. So ang edger po ay yan. So we have 3 types of edger. So first one is the vertical edger. So vertical yung itsura niya and it consists of 2 circular saws. So makita natin na meron dito sa illustration, may dalawang circular saw siya mounted horizontally with the mandrel in the vertical position at the distance ahead of the head saw. So yan yung itsura niya na type of edger. So we have another one naman na edger, yung tinatawag na single saw edger. So single, so isa lang siya. So para siyang flat car na meron siya, yung board ay kinikerry niya through the saw, one edge at a time. So papasok siya dyan and then niloload yung board dyan and then flat car it pushes against the fixed saw. Ayan. So single saw edger. And then we have the multiple saw edger. So this one, multiple. So syempre meron siyang multiple saw and then it is equipped with a feed table and a tail table. So on top of the feed table, it is movable. And the larger edgers are usually equipped with powered rolls on the feed table. So yan siya. So rumorolo dyan yung logs natin. So edger, so equipped with feed table and tail table. So usually in an industrial sawmill machine, they uses this to process wood board slabs or flitches into uniform straight edge dimensional lumber. So by passing the material through the several parallel bands, so simultaneously, it maximizes lumber yield while minimizing waste and labor. So usually ginagamit sa malalaking sawmill itong multiple saw edger. Ayan. Para mas maging efficient sa time. And then, next naman is the last basic operations in the manufacturing process is trimming or cross-cutting. So, trimming or cross-cutting po is this one refers to the process of cutting, shaving, or routing small amounts of excess material of a workpiece to achieve a precise size, perfect shape, or smooth edge. So, this one involved cutting across the grain at the ends of the board para maging parallel sila. So, mas maging, kumbaga, maayos na yung kanyang edges, shape in kung ano yung desire natin. So, ito yung four main basic operations in lumber manufacturing process. So, we have head sawing, the resawing, and then we have edging or ripping, and then we have trimming or cross-cutting. And then we have types of trimmers naman. So ito medyo marami to. So first type of trimmer is the single cut off saw. So this one is single, so this one is the simplest of trimmers, is used usually in small mills. So this one is specialized power tool used to make single straight through hard materials like steel, concrete, and masonry. And then the other one is the Canadian trim saw. So Canadian trim saw is this one uses two fixed saws on each side of the table equipped with conveyor chains. So yan. So yung Canadian trim saw ay ginagamit siya kapag in heavy timber manufacturing to trim board ends to exact lengths. So next one is the 3 2 or 3 saw cuts off. So this one either 2 or 3 circular saws mounted on a long mandrel. So yan siya. So this one is used for consists of either 2 or 3 circular saws, and their spacing being controlled with a crank or wheel to permit trimming at varying lengths. Yan. And then the last one is the battery trimmer, or yung tinatawag natin na multiple saw trimmer. So it's either battery trimmer or multiple saw trimmer. So this one is a heavy-duty woodworking machine featuring multiple circular saw blades mounted on a single arbor or carriage. So this one is designed for high volume production, and is usually primarily used to cross-cut, square, or trim rough lumber or manufactured panels to precise uniform lengths in a single pass. So yan. So meron siyang mga use several circular saws, as you can see in the illustration. So those are the four basic operations in lumber manufacture. So we will now move to the four supplementary operation. So meron naman tayong apat na supplementary operations in the lumber manufacture process. So una, syempre, and then we have addition. Preserve is this from ditch from distinct pendural of the land. Alam naman and split. Yung end sizing of the end of wood, singapan, or perfect. And then there are stored. Another one is seasoning. So seasoning, ito yung pinakahuli na. So seasoning is used to reduce moisture content of freshly cut timber to a stable level. So reducing the moisture content of freshly cut timber to a stable level. So in seasoning, so the drying of wood involves usually two basic operations. So we have movement of moisture to the surface of the wood and evaporation from the surface. So dito sa seasoning natin, so yung moisture content, yung usually na ina-adjust. So minsan 30% to 45% down to stable na 6% to 9%. So this process is crucial to prevent timber from warping, cracking, shrinking, or twisting after you build a project or kung ginamit siya for construction. So seasoning is also important in that matter. So again, we have these four supplementary operations in the lumber manufacture process. So we have the preservative treatment. So preservative treatment is usually done to increase the service life of a lumber. And then we have second one, or the end coating. So this one is to avoid yung mga cracks sa dulo or sa side ng ating lumber. We have piling and sorting. So we arrange the lumber, so also to allow the air to continuously flow. And we have seasoning. So we reduce the moisture content of a freshly cut timber to a stable level. So yan. So those are the steps or the topics under the manufacture of lumber. So I added here 5 questions. So ano lang, para lang ma-remember natin yung mga na-discuss kanina. Although marami kasi doon yung mga term, lalo na yung mga sa type of saw, almost the same talaga sila halos ng definition. And kung babasahin natin, parang pare-pareho lang naman. So that's why we are refreshing. So some of these usually naituturo naman na sa college courses natin, undergraduate courses natin. So we are here to refresh the knowledge. Ayan. So for the short quiz, so we have I prepared 5 lang under lumber. So the first question is you can type and then I will mention after 10 seconds. 10 seconds para mabilis lang tayo, okay? So the first question here is, this is done to increase the service life of a lumber. So identification type ito, hindi ito multiple choice. Pero sa board exam, I think multiple choice pa rin naman. So this is done to increase the service life of a lumber. So clue, this one is part of the 4 supplementary operations in the lumber manufacture. So tayo ng 10 seconds. So start tayo now. Yan. So, meron bang makakasagot? Ay, mali pala yun na timer ko. Ayan. So, ang answer dito is, so, this is done to increase the service life of a lumber. This one is preservative treatment. So, this is yung number 1 na diniscuss kanina na type of supplementary operations in the lumber manufacturing. Ayan, process. The second one, ito medyo mahirap siya. So, this type of modern circular heads, so we discussed to kanina na merong types of modern circular heads that is designed to sawmill to medium size, to sawmill na medium size logs. So, ano yung type of modern circular headsaw that na designed to sawmill medium-sized logs. So, na-mention to kanina, 4 sila. So, we have, yung isa ay ginagamit for small natin na logs, yung isa for large diameter logs, tapos isa sa small logs. So, ito yung pinaka-simple. Ayan, nandun na yung clue. So, what is this? So, sige nga. So, this one is designed to sawmill to sawmill of medium-sized logs. Ayan, to sawmill of medium-sized logs. So, the answer is single circular saw. So, we have 4, di ba kanina? We have single circular saw, we have the band, we have the two circular saw, the gang circular saw, and the single circular with the top saw. So, single circular saw is designed to sawmill of medium-sized logs. Ayan. So, the next question is, what are the 4 basic manufacturing operations of lumber? So, we have 4. I mentioned kanina yung unang-unang minention. So, we have 4 na yung isa, yung conversion lang siya basically ng log into to lumber, and then yung isa to smaller pieces lang nung step number 1. And then sumunod yung pagpapanipis, and then yung other one is yung para ma-perfect na yung shape and sizes. So ano ito? So what are the 4 basic manufacturing operations of lumber? Okay, so this one is, we have head sawing, resawing, edging or ripping, and trimming or cross-cutting. So ito yung 4 na 4 basic types of manufacturing operations of lumber. So next one is, ito pinakamadali na tanong. So this is defined as the product of the saw and the planing mill. Ayan. So ano bang topic ngayon? First, sa outline natin. So, ano siya? So, this is defined as the product of the saw and the planing mill. So, what is this? This is, of course, we are very much familiar dapat dito. So, this is the lumber. Yan. So, product of the saw and the planing mill. And then next, so, ito naman is one of the 4 basic operations in the manufacturing of lumber. So ito yung this operation involves cutting across the grain at the ends of the board so that they will be square and parallel with each other. So ano ito? So ito yung also yung steps or yung operations in the lumber manufacturing process kung saan yung tinitingnan yung may naayos na yung shape or yung gilid nung ating lumber. So I think this is the 4th one na na-mention kanina. So this one is, yan, trimming or cross-cutting. Yan. So yan siya. So first one, again, done to increase the service life of a lumber is preservative treatment. The second one, this one is a type of modern circular head saw designed to sawmill to medium-sized logs. So single circular saw. And then what are the 4 basic manufacturing operations of lumber? So we have head sawing, resawing, edging, and trimming. So next one is defined as the product of the saw and the planing mill. This one is lumber. And then the last one is this lumber operation involves cutting across the grain at the ends of the board so that they will be square and parallel with each other. So trimming or cross-cutting is the answer. Now we will move to our second topic. So veneer and plywood. So veneer and plywood, actually ito yung medyo mas favorite ko na under the forest products utilization. So what is a veneer? So veneer is a thin sheet of wood of uniform thickness produced by peeling, slicing, or sewing logs, bolts, or flitches. So veneer yung mga nakita natin na maninipis. So kapag pinagsama-sama natin ang veneer, nakakabuo tayo ng plywood. So plywood is a composite wood panels composed of an number of sheets of veneer that are bonded together. So plywood is composed of veneer that are bonded together with a suitable adhesive in such a manner that the grain directions of the adjacent plies are at right angles to one another. So again, so nabubuo ang plywood because of veneers. So pinagsama-sama ang veneers or mga binond together na veneers ang plywood. So ang tawag doon, may tinatawag na cross-banded construction. So, yung veneer, tapos maglalagay ng lumber core, and then we have back veneer. So, tinatawag itong cross-banded construction. So, what are the advantages? So, first, it's dimensional stability. So, na-improve yung dimensional stability nito kasi meron na kasi yung lumber core. And then, strength properties are modified and redistributed. So, hindi na siya kasi manipis talaga kasi meron na nga siyang lumber core. And then, stresses are nearly balanced. And then, wood characteristics are rearranged to maximum advantage. And there is an ease in fabricating curved and irregular surfaces not feasible with solid wood. So, yun yung advantages of having a cross-banded construction. So, ayan siya. So, we have the top veneer, and then we have the cross banding, and then lumber core, and then we have the back veneer na. So, hindi lang siya pure veneer lang talaga. We have, nag-insert na ng lumber core. Next one is, may tinatawag tayo 3-ply assembly or yung simple plywood panel. So, actually, meron namang up to 5. So, meron tayong 4 and then 5 ply. But the simplest plywood panel is sinatawag na 3-plies assembly. So, this one, the grain direction in the core is at right angle so that to that of the face plies. So, yan ang itsura niya. So, 3-ply, 3-layer panel. So, different siya. So, meron din 4-ply and 5-ply types of panel. So, we have these steps in the manufacturing of veneer. Actually, magkadugsong yung process ng veneer and plywood. So, yung una, yung log or wood preparation. So, when we prepare our log or wood preparation, so this one includes bolt preparation and flitch preparation. So, what is bolt preparation? So, this one includes debarking of logs and sorting of logs. So, and then, yung flitch preparation naman, this one is done on logs to be cut into veneers by slicing. So, again, when we say bolt preparation, so dinadebark, so tinatanggalan ng bark yung logs natin, and then it is being sorted. And then, yung flitch preparation naman, kinakat na into veneers, so ini-slice na siya. Next step is veneering. So, there are 3 standard methods employed in the manufacture of veneers. So, we have the rotary cutting, slicing, and sewing. So, in rotary cutting, kung makikita natin sa illustration, merong a bolt of wood of predetermined length is held by 2 chocks and centered on a lat. So, para siyang binabalatan siya ng paikot. So, when in place, the bolt is turned against at a stationary knife, extending across its length, cutting it tangentially with respect to its longitudinal axis. So, as cutting proceeds, the ball is literally a wood and the veneer is produced in a long continuous ribbon of wood. So, ganyan siya. So, thin strip of veneer. So, iikot siya dun sa machine ng um, and then nakakat siya ng knife directly. So, hanggang sa maubos siya. Ayan. And then, when we say naman slicing, so this method of veneering was developed in an effort to eliminate the wasteful practice of sewing. So, and is employed for cutting only figured works for face stock. So, in the Philippines, the utmost 3 to 5 plywood mills use this method of veneering. Ayan. So, before. So, slicing siya, ang ginagawa naman dito, so, para may knife na actual na kinakat na pagka-harvest, so cut na. Dire-diretso. Ayan. And then next one is sewing. So, however, dito sa panahon ngayon, little veneer is produced by sewing. So, this method is restricted only to species that are either highly refractory or unsuitable for both slicing and rotary cuttings, and that cannot be softened by steaming or boiling without impairing their natural color. So, sa Philippines naman, minimal lang naman na ginagamit ito. So, again, we have three uh, standard methods. So, in veneering, so we have the rotary cutting, we have slicing, and we have sewing. So, next one is green veneer handling. So, this one is done to eliminate the defective portions on the veneer. So syempre, for example, kapag rotary cut natin, diretso lang siya. So, nag-slice din ginagamit ito para may ayan. So, I think na-lost ako. So, balik na lang ako dito. So next one is dry veneer preparation. So in dry veneer preparation, so we eliminate the defects to upgrade the quality, and this can be done by clipping. So preparation of the stock faces, cross bands, and for gluing, and then the spreading of glue. Ayan. And the next one is the panel assembly, or this one naman, the time lapse between the beginning of the spreading glue operation and the application of full pressure upon the glue lines of a plywood panel or batch or panels pressed simultaneously. And then next one is yung pressing. So depending upon the type of adhesive used, so pressing may be accomplished at room temperature or at raised temperature. So we have the cold and hot pressing. And then we have next one is trimming or finishing. So ito, ginagamitan ito ng circular saw again, mounted on a table that trims the edges of the panel. Ayan. And then next one is grading and grating. So what are the factors affecting the quality of veneers? So of course, nandyan yung mga log grades, condition of cutting equipment, if our cutting equipment is in good condition pa ba. So skill of the operator, of course, is another factor. Knife and nose bar alignment. So yan, during the operation. So latch setting, cutting speed, and preheating treatment. So all of these can affect sa quality ng veneer natin from the latch. So, syempre, kapag may human factor, so skill of operator, if the operator is skilled na ba talaga sa cut ng veneer, or kaya kung yung bago nila operate yung machine nila, okay ba, in good condition ba siya, yung knife and nose bar aligned, ayan. So, yung preheating or yung mga operations or steps na ginagawa before i-cut yung veneer, so, nagawa ba yun? So, next is, punta naman tayo sa plywood. Since veneer nga ay connected sa plywood, kasi plywood nga po ay mga bonded together na veneers. So what are the types of plywood? So we have types of plywood according to the type of bond. So we have type 1 to type 4, and then we have the technical or fully waterproof bond. So type 1 muna is the exterior or waterproof bond. So this one uses phenol formaldehyde resin adhesive. And then for the type 2, or this one is used for the interior or water-resistant band po ito, it uses urea formaldehyde resin adhesive. Ayan. So medyo na yung mga na ginagamit. So the type 3 or moisture-resistant bond and the type 4 or resistant bond, ito po ay yung ginagamit usually only for interior lang. Hindi nila kaya yung mga high humidity conditions. So usually yung type 3 and type 4 po ay for interior usage only. So we have also the technical or fully waterproof bond. So again, we have the type 1 or yung ginagamit for exterior waterproof bond. So this one uses phenol formaldehyde resin adhesive. And then we have the type 2, so interior or water-resistant bond. And then we have the type 3 or the moisture-resistant bond. And then we have the type 4 or dry-resistant bond. And then we have the technical or fully waterproof bond. So again, the type 3 and type 4 are usually good only for interior usage because they cannot withstand high humidity conditions. And then another one is type of plywood according to the physical construction. So we have all veneer plywood, and then we have the pattern board or lumber. So meron siyang core that is made up of 2 to 3 inches wide sawn lumber strips. And then for the blackboard naman, meron siyang core that is made up of wood blocks not exceeding an inch wide. And then we have the particle or hardboard core plywood, which this one naman, the core is made up of particle board or hardbound. So for this, so we have parang may palaman siya, no? So meron siyang core according to physical construction. So we have veneer lang siya na plywood na pinagsama-sama, and then the second one meron siyang lumber na around 2 to 3 inches, yung batten board or lumber. And then we have the block board. Meron din siyang wood but it's not exceeding an inch wide. And then we have the particle or hardboard core plywood. The core is made up of particle board or hardbound. Yan. So, what are the steps for the plywood manufacturing process? So, kanina, it's more on veneer. So, this one naman, as connected siya, somehow, yung some steps dito is na-mention na rin kanina. So, plywood manufacturing process. So, una, syempre, veneer assembly and layout. So, syempre, nakat na natin yung veneer and then we'll now proceed to manufacturing of plywood. So, una natin syempre na after that is glue spreading. So, we need to consider what type of glue depending sa spread and formation and assembly. So, in glue consideration, una dyan, syempre, yung pag-spread ng glue, i-consider natin dyan. And then the glue formation. So, we have two glue formation na common na ginagamit. So, we have the extenders. So, usually, itong extenders to, may mga adhesive properties siya added to the glue mix to reduce, syempre, glue cost. Kasi we want to be economical. So, gumagamit ng mga extenders. Ayan. So, may adhesive property rin naman sila na nilalagay or minimix sa glue mix. Ayan. And then we have fillers. So, fillers are non-adhesive substances added to the mix to improve its working property. So, common fillers include coconut shell, walnut shell flour, mga sa corn, and then mga wood flour or coconut dust. Ayan. So, usually yan yung mga ginagamit. So, they are non-adhesive. So, again, extenders have some adhesive properties na ina-add to reduce the glue cost. And then we have fillers na usually non-adhesive na substances na ina-add rin to the mix to improve its working properties. And then we have the assembly. So, paano ba natin bubuuin yung ating plywood is also one of the consideration in glue spreading. Next one is hot pressing. So, in hot pressing, we need to consider some variables such as the pressing time, and then the specific pressure, and then the patent temperature. So, in hot pressing, may mga variables kasi talaga para maging maayos yung ating final product, which is yung plywood. And then next one is the finishing operation. So, of course, since tapos na yung ating product, so we want to recondition it, to repair if it's needed, to scrape, sanding, so para mas kuminis pa siya, and then panel sizing or dimensioning. Ayan. So, ito lang yung mga some of the finishing operations in the process of plywood manufacturing. And then, so what are the common defects in plywood? So, syempre, hindi naman perfect lahat ng ginagawa natin. So, sometimes nagkakaroon ng defect. So, what are these defect ba? So, minsan makikita natin ito sa mga hardware. Makikita natin ito. Usually, so, una is blow or blister. So, a spot or area where veneers fail to adhere together after hot pressing. So, nagkakaroon siya ng ganyan. So, blow or blister ang tawag po dyan. So, a spot on an area in the plywood where the veneer fails to adhere together after hot pressing. Next one is core void, gap, or overlap. So, this one happens when there's an improperly joined veneers used siya in the inner part of the core caused by improperly jointed splice or non-splice core veneers. So, nagkakaroon ng parang overlap. So, improperly joined veneers. Ayan. So, yun yung core void or core gap or core overlap. And then another one na common plywood defects is starved or glue joint. So, insufficient amount of glue or discontinuous glue film between veneers due to inadequate glue spread. So, mayroon din yung cause or nakaka-contribute din yun sa defect ng plywood kapag yung spread ng glue natin is hindi ganun kaayos. So, may discontinue. Kunyari, sa part na to, marami, tapos dito, hindi nalagyan. So, may impact siya. So, common defect in plywood. And then the other one is warping. and distortion. So, alam na natin what is warping. So, yung variation of a panel from the true or plane surface caused by the grain direction not parallel to the clipping edge. Ayan. So, nagkakaroon siya ng ganyan. So, those are the common plywood defects na pwede. Pero, syempre, meron pa diyang, most likely, meron pang others na pwedeng may add dito. And ito lang ay simple illustration na para mas maintindihan natin yung process ng or yung flow chart ng pagbuo ng plywood. So from logs, and then we make veneers, and then from veneers, so dudugsong-dugsong siya, and then yan, so ginagamit ang plywood. Ayan. So meron din nakalagay dito na recycling the plywood. So later on na natin siya tackle. So what are the advantages of plywood over solid wood? So ito common discussion to. So syempre una po is it has a distributed wood strength. So it also has increased dimensional stability since meron nga siyang may some plywood na meron siyang core na nilalagyan ng mga wood, di ba? Or lumber. And then may tinatawag na cross banding. And then we have increase in resistance to splitting and checking. Ayan, which is common siya sa lumber. And then availability of relatively large areas, possibility of match and symmetrical faces, and easy handling because of its lightness. Of course, isa tong factor na kapag, lalo na sa construction, pag transporting ng mga materials, so ito, ang plywood, mas magaan siya. Mas madali siyang i-transport. Ano naman yung problems of plywood industry in the Philippines? So, una is the rising cost of production due to the high cost of imported adhesive. So, kaya nga minsan sa glue, nilagyan na ng extenders or fillers kasi nga mas maging economical tayo. And then low recovery due to low quality of raw materials. So, yan. So, since we have laging ban, so ano na to, minsan yung pagpuputo ng puno is strictly monitored. So yung raw material sa paggawa ng lumber or ng veneer ay naapektuhan din. And then we have the limited supply of raw materials due to the exportation of good quality logs. So yun nga, as mentioned, yung iba nag-export na ng mga materials kasi nga po, we have the lagging ban. And then we have the lack of technical men's knowledge of plywood manufacturing principles. So another consideration din ito, some people are not that familiar or knowledgeable in manufacturing plywood. So high freight rates, over-dependence on the foreign market, so local government taxes on exports, and some tariff barriers. So those are some of the problem of plywood industry in the Philippines. So, what are naman the problem of plywood consumers in the Philippines? Ayan. So, number one is the non-implementation of a standard for local market. So, there is also lack of information on the proper use of different types of plywood. So, may mga different types of plywood. Sometimes, hindi siya not well informed yung ating consumers. So, limited supply of structural exterior type of plywood, and then we have lack of information on the mechanical and physical properties of structural plywood. And lastly, retail price of plywood not strictly being followed. Ayan. So, those are some of the problem of plywood consumers in our country. So, these are just 5. So, pwede pa tong madagdagan. Ayan. So, hindi pala nag-move yung aking PowerPoint. So, again. So, again, problem of plywood industry in the Philippines. So, we have 8. So, usually, it's more on lack of technical knowledge, low supply of materials, raw materials, making of plywoods, and syempre, may mga fees, kapag nag-export tayo, ayan. So, those are common problem of plywood industry in the Philippines. And how about the consumer? So, problem ng consumer, so, hindi nila alam or they do not have this enough information on the mechanical and physical properties of structural plywood. lack of information on the proper use of different types of plywood, and sometimes yung retail price of plywood is not really being followed strictly. Ayan. So, yun po ay about sa veneer and plywood. So now, we will now move to a short quiz. Short quiz again. 5 items again tayo. So, yan. So, allow ulit ako ng around 10 seconds to answer this. So, para ma-refresh tayo. So, first one, ito, very easy question. A thin sheet of wood of uniform thickness produced by peeling, slicing, or sewing logs, bolts, or flitches. Yan. Very, easy. So, 10 seconds. A thin sheet of wood of uniform thickness produced by peeling, slicing, or sewing logs, bolts, or flitches. The answer is, so the answer is veneer. Yan. And then, next one. This one is method of veneer drying done by laying up the sheets of veneers to permit free circulation of air over their surfaces. So, free circulation of air over their surfaces. So, meron na dyan. Usually, kasi sa board exam, may mga clue na clue word na pwede natin gamitin. So, ano ito? So, 10 seconds. So, the answer is so free circulation of air. So this one is called air drying. Yan. Next one. So, in the next item, so substances that have some adhesive properties added to the glue mix to reduce the glue cost. So, what are these? So, these are substances that have some adhesive properties. So, the glue is add some adhesive properties added to the glue mix to reduce the glue cost. So, ang tawag po dito ay 10 seconds again pala. So, affector and one is on your surface. Yan. Second, acid added to the glue mix to reduce the glue cost. So, ito very madali ito. Extenders. Extenders ang tama sa. Number 4, a spot or area where veneers fail to adhere together after hot pressing. So this one is a common defect in veneer. So this one, or in the plywood natin. So this one is blow or blister. And the last question is, this one is the simplest plywood panel. Ito ay tinatawag na 3-ply assembly. So, yun po yung ating all about veneer and plywood. So, next topic natin is pulp and paper. So, pulp and paper. Pulp is the dilute suspension of separated fibers in water. So, yun yung tinatawag pulp. And paper, this word is derived from papyrus. So this is the name given to all kinds of matted or felted sheets of fibers formed on a wire screen from a water suspension. So yan po ang definition nila ng pulp and paper. So what are the general uses of paper? So paper are usually used, of course, for packaging, as a communications medium, for disposable products base, and some industrial sheet materials. So yan. And what are the kinds of paper? So we have different kinds of papers din po. First one is bond and writing papers. And bond papers are usually durable, high quality writing and printing paper. So next one is printing paper. So printing paper, there are several types of printing paper. So printing paper encompasses a wide variety of paper types designed for specific tasks ranging from everyday documents to high-resolution photographs. Next one is wrapping paper. So wrapping paper and bag papers usually siyempre used for gifts, for food, or for retail na materials. And then lastly is, another one is paper towels and toilet tissues. So we all know naman kung ano ang gamit nito. And lastly, we have paper boards. So paper boards are thick, paper-based material typically defined as paper with a weight of around 250 grams. 250 grams. And then, we also have, as mentioned kanina, na mayroong different types of printing paper. So, we have book paper. So, book paper are grade of paper used for printing books, of course, for magazines, pamphlets, folders, and brochures. For newsprint paper naman, ito po yung ginagamit, grade of paper used for newspaper. Of course, as the name implies. And then we have Bristol. So these are a group of papers or paper boards that na meron siyang, that includes index Bristol, mill Bristol, wedding Bristol, and other, and folder stock. And then next is we have ledger paper. So ledger paper, ito ay used as filler leaves for ledger books. And we have lithographic paper. So those are the types of printing paper. So we have 5. So what are naman the types of specialty paper boards? So we also have 3 types of this one. So we have binder board, so used for book binding. Electrical press board, so this is a high density cellulose-based insulating material crafted from pure unbleached sulfate wood pulp without added adhesive. So usually, it is used for electrical insulation. And then we have imitation press board. So, used for notebook covers. So, yan yung usually na pinagagamitan niya. So, these are the types of specialty paper boards. So what are the sources of raw materials for pulp and paper manufacture in our country? So we have actually three. So we have wood, of course, we have agricultural waste, and other sources. So for wood, so we have softwood and hardwood. So usually sa softwood, benguet pine. And then for hardwoods, we have gubas, katong bangkal, falcata, among others. So yun yung mga sources of um, uh, pulp, raw materials for pulp and paper manufacture. So next one is agricultural waste. So minsan, ginagamit yung mga sugarcane, rice straw, banana stalks, tobacco, and cotton stalks as a raw material in the pulp and paper production. And other sources, so andyan yung mga grasses, andyan ang bamboo, kogon, so yung mga kapok, seed hairs. We also use paper mulberry, salago bass fibers, abaca, leaf fibers, and then we have recycled pulp from used paper. So, pwede rin yun. So, we recycle, di ba? Some papers are being recycled now. So, yon yung some sources of pulp and paper in the country. What are the steps in the manufacture of pulp and paper? So, we have 5 steps. So, first one is raw material preparation. So, of course, we need to prepare our materials. So, saan ba nanggagaling ito? So, usually, pulpwood harvesting and transportation. And then we have bucking. So, yung logs are cut to desired sizes natin. And then we have debarking. So, debarking, removal of barks. And then we have chipping. So, slicing into small pieces to ensure chemical and heat even penetration. So, since gagamitan natin ng mga chemicals yung ating pulp and paper para makabuo ng pulp and paper, so, kailangan i-chip siya into smaller pieces to ensure that the penetration of chemicals as well as to obtain more rapid, complete, and uniform saturation of the wood by cooking liquor. Next one is screening. So, oversized chips are separated from the accepted chips for chipping fines, or undersized chips are used as boiler fuel. Lastly is storage. So, kapag okay na, yung chips are segregated according to species, color, and other properties to permit variation of the products of the pulp mill. Next one is methods of bark removal. So, di ba may method tayo na debarking. So, may tinatawag na manual debarking. So, manual siya na tinatanggalan ng bark, which is, syempre, matagal. It will take time. Next one is hydraulic debarking. So, gumagamit dito na high-pressure water jets. Yan, to blast bark off timber logs. Next one is chemical debarking. Of course, gumagamit to ng chemicals as na-mention sa name niya. And then we have the use of debarking drums. So itong debarking drums, para siyang is a massive industrial cylinder used in pulp and paper industry to mechanically strap from logs. So nagtatumbling yung logs hanggang sa ma-debark siya just sa debarking drums. And then lastly, we have long log system cambium debarker. So ito yung usually ginagamit sa high volume sawmill. So utilize siya in high volume sawmill. So long log system, they strip bark off logs by applying inward pressure to shear the bark exactly at the cambium layer. Ayan. So, yan yung methods of bark removal. So, why do we debark ba? So, why we need to debark the trees? So, first, because bark has only very small amount of fiber. Bark gives a dirty pulp. Bark tends to consume more chemicals, and bark can be better utilized as fuel for energy generation. So, those are some of the reasons why do we need to debark. So, what are the steps in the manufacture of pulp and paper? Again, so second step is pulping na. So, pulping. So, reduction of wood to constituent fiber or pulp. So, So, nandun na tayo sa pag-reduce na ng wood to fiber. So, what are the classification of pulping processes? So, we have ground or mechanical pulping. So, this is a method where the fibers are torn apart by force to break the lignin, which serves as the binding material. So, this process of pulping classification is producing a high yield of 88% to 98%. Whereas in chemical pulping, so the chips are treated with a chemical solution under high temperature and pressure inside the digester. So usually low yield process siya. So around 30% to 58% ang napoproduce sa kanya. And then we also have this classification of pulping process. So na according sa methods of chemical pulping. So we have acid sulfide process. So ginagamitan siya ng mga pulping agents. Like sodium, ammonia, magnesium, yan. And then alkaline processes. So we have soda process. So this one is treated with a dilute solution of caustic soda at high temperature and pressure. And then we have the sulfate or crop process. So cooking liquor contains sodium sulfide and caustic soda. So these are the methods of chemical pulping. So as mentioned, so mas mababa yung yield ng process na to. So around 30% to 58% lamang. So some of the terms used in sulfate pulping. So we have the white liquor. So sulfate pulping liquor containing sodium hydroxide and sodium sulfite as its main constituents, with sodium carbonate, sodium thiosulfide as minor constituents. So we have also another term, the total alkali. So this one designates the sum of sodium hydroxide, sodium sulfide, and sodium sulfite expressed as grams per liter. And then we have active alkali. So in active alkali, it gives the sum of sodium hydroxide and sodium sulfide concentrations as calculated as grams. Okay. Next one is effective alkali. So effective alkali designates sulfide concentrations calculated as grams sodium per liter. And then sulfidity, so this is defined as 100 times the ratio of sodium sulfide over the sum of sodium hydroxide and sodium sulfide concentrations expressed in equivalents of sodium oxide. So what are the pulping variables involved in craft cooking? So first one, we have the type of wood used, the condition of the wood, cooking liquor, cooking time, and method of heating. So all of this can affect yung pulping natin or yung craft cooking natin. Another method in the classification of pulping process is the semi-chemical and chemi-mechanical pulping. So this one is a combination of mechanical and chemical pulping. So may kapag semi-chemical process, so two-stage process po ito. Kapag semi-chemical process, so pulp yield is around 65 to 85%. Whereas in chemi-mechanical process, the pulp yield is higher, 85 to 95%. So what are the uses of chemical and chemi-mechanical pulps? So kapag unbleached, so they are used as corrugating and liner boards, newsprint, and wrapping paper. Kapag naman po bleached, so ginagamit siya in books, magazines, tissues, and towels. What are the steps in the manufacturing pulp and paper number 3. So this is pulp treatment or stock preparation. So merong several steps. So we have screening, bleaching, beating, loading and sizing, refining, lapping, and coloring. Under screening, so we have, of course, the removal of dirt or foreign materials and uncooked pulp from the stock. So pinapadaan siya sa fine wire mesh. And then second one is bleaching. So ina-address yung effects, ina-address yung mga defects. So change in color, increased brightness or reflectance, and then reduction of color reversion, enhancement of paper making properties, and increasing the purity of the cellulose. So what are the two principal ways of pulp bleaching? So we have first, alteration of the color, so producing groups in situ by oxidation or reduction, and then second one is the producing of materials and non-cellulosic components by chemical modification and solutions. So what are the main states of standard bleaching? So we have acidic chlorination. So this one degrades most of the residual lignin in pulp into a soluble form. Second one is the alkali extraction. So this one removes alkali soluble lignin products from the pulp. And lastly, the hypochlorite bleaching. So this one completes the lignification by destroying the residual chromorphic groups. So these are the main states of standard bleaching. So we have 3. And then another pulp treatment or stock preparation item is beating. So the walls of the cellulose fibers are made fuzzy by mechanical action in Hollander heaters so that the fibers would fall together more firmly. Another one is loading and sizing. So certain additives are incorporated in the pulp to provide certain qualities. And then refining. So this one involves the actions of fibrillation, hydration, and brushing of the stock to obtain paper with high tear and burst value. Another one is lapping. So this one involves the addition of pigments or dyes to the bleach pulp to bring out any desired color in the paper. And then, of course, coloring. So addition of pigments to the bleach pulp to bring out any desired color in the paper. So we use pigments or dyes. For pigments, these are water-insoluble coloring materials deposited on the surface of the fibers and do not penetrate the cell wall. And the next one is dyes. So these are more permanent than the pigments because they can penetrate the cell wall of the fibers. So these are the common two materials used for coloring. Next step is paper manufacture. So in paper manufacture, we have type of paper machine. So we have cylinder machine and four dryer machine. So ito yung cylinder machine. So makita natin a cylinder. So in manufacturing of paper. And then yung sunod naman is the four dryer machine. Ito yung itsura niya. So from four dryer machine, it transforms a highly diluted slurry of water and wood pulp into a dry finished rolls of paper meron siyang four main sections. So meron siyang forming section, press section, drying section, and yung reeling section. So those are the types of paper machine. And then so as mentioned, so wet end. So this moisture content of the mat as if the wet end is about 80%. And then kapag napunta siya sa press section, so the mat is pressed between rolls. So kapag umalis siya sa section na to, around to 60 to 70% na lang yung moisture content niya. And then kapag na-dry na siya sa dryer section, around 7 to 10% na lang yung kanyang moisture content towards the calendar, or ito na yung parang final section ng Ford-Reiner paper machine. So the sheet passes through a set of very smooth and heavy rolls to impart a smooth finish to the paper. And then last step is paper reeling. So paper reeling is basically just arranging on reels and arranging papers on reels, and they may be cut to specified lengths as it is being wound or rounded up. So this is the final step in paper and board manufacturing. So para siyang nakarolyo na. Yan. So that's the end for paper and pulp. So again, I have a short quiz lang for paper and pulp. So first question, it is the name given to all kinds of matter or felted sheets of fibers formed on a wire screen from a water suspension. So, ano ba yung topic natin ngayon? Third item sa ating outline. So it is the name given to all kinds of matter or felted sheets of fibers formed on a wire screen from water suspension. So this one is paper. Yan. So this is a type of specialty paper board. So mentioned earlier, we have several types of specialty paper boards used for electrical insulation. So yan na yung may clue na dyan sa question. So the type of specialty paper boards used for electrical insulation. So the answer is electrical press board. And the last question, I think I only prepared 3. So this is the removal of dirt, foreign materials, and uncooked pulp from the stock by passing the pulp through a fine wire mesh. So na-mention yan kanina. So the answer is siya sa part ng pulp treatment or stock preparation, item number 1. So this is screening. The answer is screening. Yan. So we will now move to fiberboard. So fiberboard is an engineered wood product made from broken down wood or plant fibers combined with resins and compressed into rigid sheets. So we have several steps. We have 10 steps in fiberboard manufacture process. So first one is raw material preparation. So raw material is used is almost exclusively wood. So meron din namang other lignocellulosic materials na ginagamit. So mga cotton stalks, straws, yan. So defibering of raw materials. So this one consists of defibrating the wood to form a pulp, and either by mechanical means or by an explosion process. And then screening. So we ensuring that the individual fibers are within the optimum range and remove undesirable residues. So meron din part ng manufacture of fiberboards ang screening, same as the pulp and paper. So formation. So we have wet felting and air felting. So when we say wet felting, so boards are formed and pressed with the fiber mass in the form of a pulp. When we say air felting, so this one relies on air suspension of a mass of comparatively dry fibers rather than a water suspension as in the case of wet felting. So yun difference nila. So wet felting use water and air is using air suspension. Next one is pressing. So there are 2 methods of hot pressing fiberboards. So we have wet pressing. So pressing is carried out if the fiber mat is formed when the fibers contain a very high moisture content, so up to 75% moisture content. And then dry pressing naman, so if the moisture content of the board is low enough, so dry pressing is being considered to be carried out. Next is heat treatment. So coming into wide use, it is designed to improve the mechanical characteristics of the board and its moisture resistance. Next one is oil tempering. So this is an alternative to heat treatment, which aside from the added stability and water resistance, makes the board more resistant to weathering and abrasion. And next is conditioning. So humidifying dry boards before packaging to a moisture content. So it will assume while in service. So yun yung conditioning. So again, we have heat treatment. oil tempering, and conditioning. Another one, next step is trimming. So boards which have been pressed over are being trimmed, usually by saw equipped with tungsten carbide tips. And then last is additional manufacturing operations. So depending on the manufacturer's preference, this may include paint finishes, so pipinturahan or paper overlays, and of course, preservative treatments. So usually, syempre, to increase also the service life of our fiber boards as seen sa lumber. So what are the general classes of structural fiber boards? So first one, we have the insulation boards. So these are engineered panel materials used primarily for thermal and acoustic control. Ayan. For medium density building fiber board, so semi-hardboard na tinatawag. So engineered wood product made by breaking down wood residuals into fibers, combining them with wax and resin, and pressing them into panels. Lastly is hardboard. So, mas familiar tayo dito. So, hot-pressed fiber boards of high-density material manufactured for purposes requiring strength, hardness, high density, and uniform thickness surface. So, ito yung tinatawag nating hardboards. So, these are the three general classes of structural fiber boards. So, again, we have insulation boards, we have medium density building fiber boards, and the hardboards. So another subclassification of fiber board. So depending according to quality. So we have the interior quality type. So usually for finishing na siya. And then we have the exterior quality type. So these are used impregnated and coated with asphalt to improve its water resistance and wet strength. And depende naman according to application. So we have the semi-rigid type. So used primarily as insulation materials. And we have the rigid insulation board. So used as acoustical board. So siguro iba dito nakikita na natin kasi meron to sa mga classroom or offices usually. Next naman, according to the surface or finish of the two faces. So we have the smooth one side. So screen back or S1S na tinatawag. And then we have smooth two sides. So S2S na tinatawag. So yung face niya is parehong smooth. Or isa one-sided lang ang smooth. And then we have according to texture or design on smooth surface or S1S or on both faces of S2S board. So we have smooth, embossed, groove, or perforated. So those are the classification of fiber boards according to texture or design on smooth surface or on both faces of the S2S boards. So what are the advantages of fiber boards? So fiber boards, for example, insulation boards help reduce heat transmission. It also possesses good sound absorbing capacity. So, yan, nagpapakabit ng insulation boards usually kapag may mga meeting rooms. Yan. And then hardboard naman, it can be easily work with common tools, accepts paints, stains, or other finishes readily. It is water resistant. It is available in flexible grades which may be bent or shaped. It has uniform appearance and considerable strength, which results cracking, which results that cracking and split, and it will not result to split or splinter. It is available in a wide variety of patterns, colors, or textures, and it is economical and easy to use. So those are some of the advantages of fiber boards. So that's the end for fiber boards. So again, short quiz for fiber board topic. So first question, so it is an engineered wood product made from broken down wood or plant fibers combined with resins and compressed into rigid sheets. So what is this? An engineered wood product made from broken down wood or plant fibers combined with resins and compressed into rigid sheets. So the answer is, of course, fiber board. fiberboard. And then next question, it is the type of formation in the fiberboard manufacturing process where boards are formed and pressed with the fiber mass in the form of a pulp. So type of formation in the fiberboard manufacturing process where boards are formed and pressed with the fiber mass in the form of a pulp. So anong answer dito? So meron tong dalawa na mention kanina. Yan. So ang distinction nila ay kung ano yung ginagamit. So this one, the answer is wet felting. So the other one is air felting. So again, the type of formation in the fiberboard manufacturing process where boards are formed and pressed with the fiber mass in the form of a pulp is wet felting. So next question. So these are hot pressed fiberboards of high density manufactured for purposes requiring strength, hardness, high density, and uniform thickness surface. So ano ito? So we mentioned three kanina na general classes of structural fiberboards. So ito yung pangatlo na na-mention kanina. So ito ay, so ano ito? So hot pressed fiberboards of high density manufactured for purposes requiring strength, hardness, and high density and uniform thickness surface. So the answer for this one is hardboards. Ayan. So, diba meron po tayong tatlo kanina. We have insulation boards, we have medium density building fiber boards, and then we have hardboards. So the last one is hardboards. Okay. So next item or the last topic for this afternoon is particle board. So particle boards are an engineered wood product made by pressing wood waste such as wood chips, shavings, and sawdust together with synthetic resin under heat and pressure. So, particle, so nagsimula tayo sa lumber. So, panipis na paliit tayo. So, nasa last na tayo yung particle board. So, ito yung mga recycled wood waste, usually yung mga wood chips, shavings, sawdust. So, pinagsama-sama sila. So, these are the steps in the manufacture of particle board. So, we have 11. So, as you can see, some steps are almost the same with other products. So, forest products na na-mention natin. So, for the particle preparation, so common types of particle use we have, una is hammer mill type. So, a hammer mill type is produced in specially designed machines. So, there are two basic types of hammer mill type. So, we have cylinder type na machine, yung mga knives are mounted either on the exterior of a cylinder, similar to a planer, or on the interior of a hollow cylinder. And next one is rotating disc type. So when we say rotating disc type, so knives mounted on a disc at varying angles which influence the nature of a particle obtained. And then other type is the cutter type particles or engineered particles. So these are flakes or shreds, and their size is usually quite different from that of particles produced in a hammer mill type machine. So, ito yung galing sa mga kumbaga ito yung mga flakes or shreds na materials. Next naman is next step is classification or screening. So there are basically two methods for the classification of particles. So we have screen classification, though. So the screen are equipped with plates having either drilled holes or slots, or screen cloth which may be slotted. And then the air classification, so not extensively used since it involves greater difficulties in operation and control. So yun, so between the two, yung screen classification usually na ginagamit in screening process in the manufacture of particle boards. Next one naman po is drying. So in drying, so we have the desired moisture content of finished board of around 8 to 105, and consequently some drying of the particles will be necessary. So there are 5 main methods. So we have rotary drying, belt drying, disc drying, or tinatawag natin ginagamitan ng turbo dryers, paddle through dryings, and suspension drying, and high flash point drying. So these are the 5 main methods of drying as used in the manufacture of particle boards. So another one is glue coatings of particles or resin blending. So we apply a thin film of resin, though not necessarily a complete coating, to each particle so that so that in the eventual close binding of the mass, each unit is effectively spot welded to its neighbor. So another step is board formation. So we have 3 basic divisions. So batch formation, continuous formation, and extrusion formation. Another step is board pressing. So now that nag-glue na natin sila, so we need to press it at a temperature usually at around 100 to 140 degrees Celsius. And the pressure is here between 150 to 400 psi. Next is board conditioning. So this is important in equalizing the moisture content throughout the board and thus reducing warpage that might otherwise occur. So this conditioning of 7 to 10 days, usually, ang duration niya, is essential as any of the earlier precautions taken during actual manufacture. So, tinatagal siya ng 7 to 10 days ang board conditioning. Next one is board trimming. So, yung boards na platted, ay emerge from press rubber to 2 inches longer and 2 inches wider than their final size. So, this surplus may be trimmed off either immediately after pressing or after the conditioning period according to the particular factory preference. Tinatawag natin another one is the board thicknessing. So under this, so boards are intended for furniture manufacturers for facing with wood veneers or other material undoubtedly do need to be of standard thickness. So lastly, of course, additional manufacturing operations. So this may include overlaying the surfaces of the board with veneers to provide a better surface appearance and to increase the strength of the entire finished material. So those are the steps in the manufacture of particle board. So what are the advantages po ba of particle board? So first one, it utilizes more of the tree. It can easily cut into various sizes. It can be made from other fibrous materials like agricultural waste. It possesses all the essential properties required for low and medium load structural panels. It has good sound absorption or attention, can be manufactured by different thicknesses, and makes possible the manufacture of attractive panels of varying color designs and patterns, and could easily be made durable by preservative treatment. Yan. So those are some of the advantages of particle boards. So how about the disadvantages naman? So aside, on the other hand, so particle boards has low screw and nail holding capacity. It has low strength properties. It has poor machinability. It is more absorbent than solid wood, thus it absorbs more paint and varnish. And the cost of synthetic glue, of course, is high. Yeah. So those are some of the disadvantages of particle boards. So in the particle board industry, there are several types of particles used. So first one is splinters. So splinters are short, rectangular, oblong to needle-like in shape particles produced by cutting, beating, tearing, and are combinations of these actions of the machine such as the hammer mill or knife plug. Next one is shaving. So waste from planing or surfacing machine, small wood particles of indefinite dimensions, variable in thickness and often curled. So we also have what we call flakes. So these are thin and rectangular particles with predetermined dimensions. So the longer side parallel to the grain of the wood, uniform also in thickness. And then we have the wafer. So similar to a flake in shape but larger. So It may also have tapered ends. So another type of particles used in particle board industry are chip. So chip are a piece of wood chopped from a block by a large knife or hammer. So as by a pulpwood chipper. Sawdust, so it is produced by a saw curve. Strand, a long shaving but a flat with parallel surfaces. And then we have sliver. So these are nearly square cross section with the length at least 4 times the thickness. And then we have wood wool or excelsior. So long, curly, slender slivers that's also used in cushioning packages. So ayan yung types of particles. So some of those types somehow nakikita na natin or we are very much familiar naman na. So what are the methods of blending dried particles with binder? So in a particle board industry, so we have discontinuous or batch method. So a batch of particles is fed into a revolving drum and is sprayed with the necessary quality of resin. And then we have the continuous process. So particles are metered continuously into a mixer which provided with stirrers, while resin is introduced as a fine spray by means of compressed air spray nozzles. So these are the two methods of blending dried particles. So we have discontinuous and continuous process. And then what are the types of matte formation? So we have batch formation. So, and then we have continuous formation and the intermediate formation. So basically, batch formation is a procession of flat cold plates that is spread individually with a measured quality of resin particle mixture. So for the continuous formation, so it's more on the resin particle mixture is spread continuously as a level mat on a stainless steel bonds, and the mat then travels through a series of heating units or heated presses. And lastly, for intermediate formation, so the resin particle mixture is spread continuously on a synthetic material. So the dimension of which are the same as the dimension of the single opening hot press used for pressing the whole mat in one pressing period. So these are the types of mat formation. So what are the characteristics of trees species that affect its suitability for particle board manufacture? So we have specific gravity, we have extractiveness, and we have pH and buffering capacity. So for specific gravity, so preferred species are in the low to medium density range because boards made from dense woods become heavy and so are difficult to handle, of course, an expensive transport. Another one is extractiveness. So wood with high extractive content encounter difficulty in developing proper resin cure and also blows resulting from internal pressure or volatilized extractiveness. Last is pH and buffering capacity. So resins are sensitive to pH, which affects their cure. Buffering capacity of wood determines the amount of catalyst that must be added to lower pH to the desired level. So these are the considerations of the three species to be used or to be suitable for particle board manufacture. So what are the variables affecting board properties? So we have the species and particle geometry, we have the board density profile, and we have the resin content distribution. So in species and particle geometry, this includes length of particles and ratio of thickness to length and distribution of different particle geometries in a mat from the face layer to the cure. For the board density profile, so the higher the overall density of the board from a given raw material, the greater, of course, is the strength. So density profile is the variation in the density through the thickness of the board. Lastly is the resin content distribution. So the more resin used in board, of course, the stronger and more dimensionally stable it will be. So these are some of the variables that can affect board properties. So what are the important board characteristics? So we have strength properties. So this will be discussed later on sa other topic, modulus of elasticity, modulus of rupture. So internal board. So and also the dimensional characteristics, so linear change or thickness swelling of board. So these are some of the important board characteristics. And then another term that can be considered is the composite products. So composite products are materials produced from a combination of veneer and particle board. So composite panels are particle boards covered with veneers, and we have composite lumber or tinatawag na comply lumber. So produced by parallel laminating veneers to the edges of strips of 1.5 inches thick particle board. So meron tayong tinatawag din na composite products, yung combination siya ng veneer and particle board. Ayan. So or also meron ding composite lumber, na lumber naman. Produced by parallel laminating veneers. So that's the end for particle board. So we have short quiz before we end our discussion this afternoon. So for first question, so this is a short rectangular oblong to needle-like in shape particles produced by cutting, beating, tearing, and or combinations of these actions of the machine such as hammer, mill, or knife lug. So ito ay na-mention kanina na type of particles used in particle board industry. So ano po ito? So ito po ay splinters. Ayan. So splinters are short, rectangular, oblong to needle-like in shape particles produced by cutting, beating, tearing, and a combination of these actions of the knife machine such as the hammer, mill, or knife lug. Okay, so another question is knives that are mounted either on the exterior of a cylinder similar to a planer or on the interior of a hollow cylinder. So what type of knife is this? Yan. So nandyan na yung word na pwede nating magamit. So ano po ito? So this one, so knives that are mounted either on the exterior of a cylinder. So cylinder type. Ayan. And last question, so an engineered wood product made by pressing recycled wood waste such as wood chips, shavings, and sawdust together with synthetic resin under heat and pressure. So ano po ito? So ano bang topic? Fifth topic natin. So very easy question. So this one is, of course, particle board. So I think that's the end of the lesson for this afternoon. I hope with the short span of time may natutunan. And I would like to add some tips lang. I hope this will help somehow. So first tip, actually, it depends naman sa tao, ano. So ako kasi, I usually build a structured study plan. So ano ba yung mga topics na i-cover ko for this day or for the following days? And start as early as now since matagal pa naman ng board exam, ano. So maganda nakaka-attend tayo sa mga pre-reviews like this, and also if we intend to enroll later on para mas makuha natin yung mga manuals or mga materials na pwede natin pag-practicean. And then another I think tip na pwede mabigay is take care of your body and mind. Of course, kapag hindi tayo handa yung katawan natin, yung mind natin, even if sa tingin natin na-review natin lahat, may possibility na mablank ka during the board exam. So, it's very necessary, it's very important na before the board exam, may enough sleep, nakakain ng maayos, ayan. So, wag masyadong magpaka-stress kasi if you really studied and you planned ahead of time, so makakapasa. Ayan. So that's it for my presentation this afternoon. I hope naengganyo kayo to enroll sa UP-STEP Review Center. So marami pa pong mga susunod na topics. Maraming magagaling na mga presenters, mga licensed foresters as well, na nagpe-present ng other topics na makakover ng board exam. Yan. Thank you and have a great Saturday. Remaining time ng Saturday. Ayan.